No.
And we're live on the Touchdowns and Tangents radio show. I'm PD Camarillo.
I'm just playing. Kenneth James.
And we're live from the Good News radio station.
I'm an asshole. I'm sorry.
This is your Thursday night spot for all your NFL content, petty conversations,
Culturally concise commentary, the brilliance of the realness, which is this program, the broadcast,
and all that other stuff. But yeah, if you never listened to this podcast, you might not know that tonight was supposed to be episode 100. But what episode is it actually?
96, 90 Seis is 6 in Spanish, right?
So,
Cinco. Yeah, Cinco.
Do you want to tell the good people why?
Okay, here's the bad news for the good news. Sorry. Yeah, we had a couple episodes that were like bonus episodes and also like alternate intro episodes that we accidentally counted as part of the original lineage.
And by we, he specifically means him.
No, I mean you, because you're the ones who actually created the shit and printed it out. Like you did the extra bit on a couple of them.
All right, cool.
You did it.
I only did that on one show, so
no, you did it on two.
No, I actually did it on one.
Early in the beginning that neither one of us caught until we were like, oh shit, we did that. And then the alternate ending one before we had the breakfast wake and bake on. But yeah, we missed it. Shit, sorry. We normally fact check and catch everything, but this one got by us. Slight oversight.
Yeah,
that led to a huge oh shit.
Yeah, for the past like 2 months, we've been basically our number has been off and skewed since like
for a month. We're like
for like 2 months.
The Breakfast Club.
Yeah, we've been preparing for episode 100 for about 2 months.
Like in my mind,
and when I say we, I specifically mean Kenny.
Like in my mind,
but yeah,
I was ready, but then on like paper, I forgot to like take those episodes out.
Honestly, though, in my heart of hearts, I always kind of felt like it wasn't episode 100.
Yeah, it wasn't.
So even when you were talking about it and promoting it, that's why I wouldn't get excited. But
so I just everyone know, like Pete totally sold me up the fucking river on this one.
But no, I mean it is my fault because I've been doing a lot of extra stuff outside of here, so maybe I haven't been giving it the full attention. I haven't fact checked you like I normally would.
It's both our faults.
So it's definitely both of our faults. But
I'm just picking.
You're definitely
what
leading
fault
the fault.
Is mine.
You're leading the fault.
I'll be the spokesperson for whose fault it is.
You're 60-40. How about that?
Get the fuck out of here. It's 55-45.
Okay, we can
at
settle
the least.
On that. We can settle on that.
I give 55-45.
We can settle on it, even though you're the one who promoted it and has been promoting
That's
it.
why I said 55. 5% is a huge windfall.
But yeah, honestly, man, it really doesn't fucking matter. Like I said before,
because you're still gonna listen anyway.
Not just that, but nothing's really gonna change. So
don't tell them that.
We're just gonna keep doing what we do every single week and what we've been doing for 95, 96 weeks, and that's providing context for the culture and a different type of NFL perspective that you're not getting out in mainstream media.
And commentary and facts and insight and a lot of context that some of these places just aren't contractually allowed to give or even pretend like they're going to give just based off how the history of their programming works. So, yeah, we don't have any real media ties like that to where, like, someone's paying us not to say shit.
And moreover, November 30th is officially going to be episode 100.
So if Pete says this and y'all hear it, just know.
So if you're listening to this podcast, mark your calendars. If you're a listener, hit us up. We'll hit you with the invite for whatever we're going to do for that specific day. But yes, episode 100 is November 30th. And honestly, it's really a blessing because it gives us more time to prepare. It gives us more time to make it a little bit more special.
And enjoy the
lifestyle. And involve the listeners. Yeah, exactly. So
enjoy the lifestyle. Shout out to Raul, who couldn't be here.
Shout out to Woo, who's going to pull up.
Brandon, your ass flaked. I just want to know. Yeah, you flaked. But no, it's all good.
But yeah, we still have beers and tacos and Funyuns. So
no, the Funyuns are gone. We ate those. Shout out to CBS.
I mean, we still had a celebration because honestly, we should celebrate the fact that we made it this far and we continue to progress and grow.
We didn't actually we saw this, but in the beginning, we definitely didn't see it being like this. We saw like the end goal, but we didn't see
and realistically
become a multi-layered, multifaceted show that the lead is sports, but it's so much more than that.
And realistically, we honestly haven't been counting episodes since like 8.
Once I got in the 90s, I was just too fucking hyped. And the closer I got to like 97, and on top of that, I'm just really sick.
Wanted this to be 100.
I'm fucked up off cough medicine right
he
now.
still wants this to be episode 100.
I have a big-ass bottle of Sudafed.
He would still just be like, hey, let's just go on 100. I was like, no.
We technically have done
that
100
takes
episodes,
the integrity
but it doesn't count.
It.
I was really fucked up off like cough medicine and like emergency and a bunch of shit. So I just want to apologize to everybody. I lost my voice like yesterday, and I'm barely talking. I downed literally like 2 liters.
He really just ate this orange juice.
Orange.
He got here at 7:30 and he's already finished. It was
honestly gone in like 10 minutes.
In an hour. He literally finished.
And I had a big ass gulp of Sudafed. Like I'm fucked up out here, but I'm here because.
But yeah, man,
I don't miss games.
Shout out to Woo. Shout out to Woo with the chat. Hooked us up with UCLA tickets last week, which
I couldn't go.
Kenny didn't go to because he was ducking.
Then I saw my check
because he was ducking smoke from Polynesians.
I don't duck any Polynesians anywhere. First off, there's a lot of Polynesians. I can't fucking speak. In the South Bay, mostly at Losing or Hawthorne. And some at Londo. Shout out to Naki for
man.
Hopefully,
my pops ran into one of his homies from Paramount from back in the day, and they were just basically talking about like how like because he didn't gangbang, but like he was talking about how like the Tongan Crips were like the only people that had their back in the day.
Yeah, TCG wasn't fucking around.
Back when Somerset was Compton Boulevard, and back when Alondra was a bunch of dairies.
I remember when 2000.
They were really giving me some history. I was like, damn, this is crazy.
I remember like 2008. I was fucking around and I walked down the street to my friend's house, and I just happened to be wearing a red shirt and red basketball shorts. And I didn't think anything of it. And this dude hopped out his SUV in the middle of the street, like off Freeman and 118th, and just looks at me like, "What's up, bro?" I was like, "Oh shit, I don't bang." And then I thought about it. I was like, "Oh wow, that was really close." Why did I wear this outfit again?
But yeah, man. So shout out to Woo in the chat. Hopefully he'll be up here for episode 100, taking some video. And you didn't miss much because UCLA got their ass kicked.
Oh, I was keeping up
30.
Dog, my coworkers like, "You're stupid. You should have went. Why are you even here right now, bro?" I would have fucking left.
And my tire went flat afterwards, so
you were talking shit
about that.
You said Steve Smith has gang ties to
I had to wait like
Samoans.
I had to wait like an hour. Okay, now we're bringing offline stuff into the show. All right, cool.
No, because you said
no.
You're gonna
Think about the precedent you just said.
You're gonna say
all right, cool.
You said you're gonna
all right,
say
you're airing out group chat laundry. Huh?
That's not group chat laundry.
Okay,
that was 1-to-1.
All right, that makes it even worse.
1-to-1.
Scumbag.
Nah,
I told you that in confidence.
Yeah,
anyways,
that's why you don't try to bang on me with South. Like first off,
anyways,
you know how many Polynesians go through the JUCO circuit? Like, yeah. And guess what? I'm a fucking JUCO product. Who you gonna sick them on? How you gonna sick them on me?
Anyways, so yeah, the Dodgers went 18 innings that game
and got their shit pushed into the World Series.
Which I watched most of while I was at the
Shout
UCLA
out to the
game
title of our
UCLA was getting their ass kicked
by Utah. Yeah, like 41-14 or something, 41-7. Shout out to our last podcast or last episode title, because that like so much shit happened for that title to come together. The World Series of neo-capitalistic.
Like speakers shutting our shit down, and you continually just promote Spotify on my Instagram account.
Did I?
Yeah.
Again,
but yeah, man,
I was really fucked up on cough medicine. I don't even know.
Yeah, man. Touchdowns and tangents. You know what it is. Your favorite podcast app. Shout out to the Replay affiliates, FBC Radio, X Squad affiliates, and X Squad Radio Network.
I like how we're on
Thank
Spotify.
Thank you for
but
all
you
the support. Thank you for all the love. We greatly appreciate it. FBC Raiders, we love you.
Barbershop Talk. Yeah.
Yep.
Shout out to Terry.
All the X Squad. But yeah, man. So if you've never listened to the show, it's pretty much what it is. We go off on little tangents here and there. We cut left, we cut right, and that's pretty much what we did now. But let's get into content. KB, Halloween was this week, man. How was it for you?
Dog, I was sick as fuck yesterday.
Yeah, me too. I didn't do shit.
Like, honestly, like, I have two I have two go-tos for when people ask me, "What are you going to be for Halloween?" I say
the one she told you not to worry about.
No, that's a good one. That's a good one. That's 3. No, I'm putting that one in my back pocket. I didn't actually think about using that one. Yeah, that one. The second one is Sean Kingston, because like ever since high school, people are like, "You look like Sean Kingston," and then when like literally, like
I was thinking the black version of Spider-Man's.
Fat Asian friend?
Yeah.
Did you just make me...
You're mad because that was accurate.
Did you just lower me on the
mad because that was accurate.
Like, you just called me the Asian version of another fat person? Like, fuck you, bro. I'm offended. I'm offended for all fat people who can see the sidekicks. Get the fuck out of here. You just called me Mikey from Recess. You piece of shit. But no, I would say... Like, yeah, I've been called Sean Kingston, like, a lot in my life, especially in high school. Like, people would come up from behind me and sing Beautiful Girl. Like, at one point, teachers started singing it. It was a damn good prank. I just had to own it.
Damn, administrators just really don't like you, huh?
Yeah, me and administrators don't get along. They can all eat a dick. We just don't get along. They see me and they're like,
issues with preachers when you were an infant? You have issues with
first off,
elementary school.
I'm finding
an LCD here, and I think it's you.
You said an LCD? You mean the least common denominator?
Yeah.
You know that's not how that works. You mean like the most common denominator, not the least common denominator.
The lowest common denominator. That means the lowest.
You fucked up. You got a bad grade geometry.
No, that's right.
You sure about that?
Yeah, because that means.
I don't know, man.
That means the lowest point that you have in common with everything. So that's why you have to revert. Yeah.
All I'm saying is,
don't take the steam out of my metaphor.
It was shitty. It was a garage. It was a gas station burrito of a metaphor.
Anyways,
gas station sushi.
The reason why I brought up Halloween is because I wanted.
I wasn't done yet with my thing yet. Oh, the second.
Because your jokes have the worst lead up ever. Okay, come on.
No, the second one was Sean Kingston. The third
Where's
one
the grasshopper?
That's because you don't play. That's why I should run the board. You don't play sound effects. You're a conservative sound effect person, and I don't like it. Anyway, you should clap me just for talking because my throat is fucked up. Pause. But anyway, the last one is Fat Skellington. I'm Jack Skellington's normal brother. I'm the only one in his family who still fucks with him because, you know, he like had a birth defect and looks like a skeleton. I'm Fat Skellington. And people realize that. They're like, what does that mean? Well, one, I'm fat, and I probably wear a skeleton suit. So there you go. That one always gets a laugh. No bullshit. It always gets a laugh when I tell people. Just not right now because you don't think anything I say is funny. But I'm hilarious. See, you just fucking laugh. I'm hilarious.
Anyways, the reason why I brought up Halloween is
free candy.
NFL players, man. Since the social media era, NFL players try to stunt on Halloween now. We saw Chad Kelly get released after a costume party a couple weeks ago. So yeah, man, holidays are important in the NFL. Yeah,
but he was being an asshole at Von Miller's.
Not to mention
party. That's why he got kicked out.
Yeah, not to mention we have to address something.
Do we?
Your boy Russell Wilson dressing up as as Black Panther, and his wife Sierra and Future's son and his son dressed up as
Future's
members
kids look
of Wakanda.
like a fucking Saiyan. Like that wasn't a complete Wakandan uniform. One of the smallest kid in front of Sierra looked like Vegeta. It was weird, like Vegeta, but like before he was like still evil, minus like the blue. It was weird. I was like, y'all, you just got a half-ass kid uniform, but all right. But anyway, he just had the mask and that necklace. That shit don't count.
Yeah, it was pretty trash.
That was like T'Challa in Civil War. That shit didn't count.
Yeah, that shit was trash.
It was Garbo, but he's light-skinned. But at least he tried. And first off,
out of all the people that could have dressed as Black Panther, though, it really had to be Russell Wilson.
I mean, at least he didn't dress as Stokely Carmichael.
Yo, I wasn't ready for that.
I'm still mad at that the fucking idiot, the guy who looked like Mac Wilds, who was in that
I just think
the Klan movie we saw. The dude who was fucking what was that guy's name? He was
Black Klansman.
No, and Black Klansman, not Denzel Washington's son. He was the lead. I'm talking about the black dude who was Stokely Carmichael and Black Klansman. I was like, that motherfucker was in such and such.
Yeah, I don't know what you're talking about, but I know what you're referring to.
You remember?
I don't know what you're talking about. But yeah, I just think it's funny because the whole thing about that movie was like, oh, it had all this like this black beauty, this natural black beauty, and then here are these light-skinned celebrities that, well, Russell Wilson sounds like he's stuck in the sunken place, and Sierra hasn't been relevant since Future.
Get your shit off.
Since Future made about 3 albums about her.
Please, do we need to switch spots so I can just start being petty and hit the sound effects? Because, fam, like, this is what I really... Thank you. Please get into your shit. Why you do not like Sierra and why you are pro-Future. You are pro-Dirty Sprite. It is 96% coursing through your veins. Please, can we get this off your chest? This is why you really hate Russell Wilson. You always put it off on me like I hated Russell Wilson, and I only did early in his career. But you really hate Russell Wilson.
I just hate Russell Wilson because I feel like he is way overly politically correct.
You are hiding a fatherhood.
And I feel like Sierra herself has somewhat become vastly overrated by osmosis. Like,
she hustling.
She definitely hustling.
She hustled through all the entertainers in rap and realized that wasn't going to get her anything. It just got her.
So she went to a football player.
So she went to a football player. She went to a lame. Because let's be honest, his girlfriend from Wisconsin. Like, let's be honest, Wilson's a type B personality.
And I made a bad joke about her being the Paula Abdul of R&B.
No. You said she was way less than Paula Abdul. Paula Abdul has like 2 fucking hits. And I can't name either of them. And honestly, she has a third hit. It's Justin Guarini from American Idol.
Sierra has 2 major hits.
8. She has like
2
8
major.
Hits.
2
Bro,
major.
I hope
1-2 Step.
I hope the Get Right is listening to this somewhere so they can roast your ass.
Goodies and 1-2 Step are her biggest hits. Those are the biggest mainstream hits.
Bro.
What hits are bigger than those?
Like a Boy. That was huge.
That wasn't a huge hit. That wasn't a mainstream hit.
What are you talking about?
That was an R&B hit.
What?
That was an R&B hit. That wasn't a mainstream hit.
You need to go back and look at that video.
That was not a mainstream hit.
I'm mad that we're having an argument about Sierra, but cool. It's cool. I brought receipts.
The same thing with Oh No. Oh No was a good song.
It was just called
Oh. Yeah, whatever. Oh was a good song, but it wasn't a mainstream hit. And what?
Ludacris? That was a hit.
Out of Control was a
hit. That was a bop.
That was a Missy and Fat Man Scoop carried song, but yeah,
it was
a
hit. Either way, it was a bop.
It was a hit.
It was culturally relevant.
And Ride was a hit, but it was like B+. I think that was a low time in music when we were just reaching for hits because I remember Usher was popping off for Return on the same time. But yeah, we were just thirsty. That was when he did Daddy's Home and like whole yeah. But yeah, man.
Daddy's Home made me uncomfortable.
Off that whole tangent. Point is,
Sierra had other hits.
Okay.
Click on the Skype. There you go. Green button. There you go. Hey, caller. Can't wait to hear your beautiful voice. Who is? Wait, did you just hang up?
Just had a call in from Boston.
What's good?
Never mind, Andrew.
They called in. 96 episode.
Hey, I said Dodgers did it.
Really just like that when he called?
Did
you watch the parade?
Did you enjoy it?
The parade was our job. I walked past it.
So did you go to a break? Like,
did you beat up the game? Level?
No, just there were guys on the subway. What can you do?
A Boston bum. That's rough.
Hey, Andrew. So
yeah, I did.
You New England and the game of so. So how are you looking the Boston sports? How do you compare?
They're really passionate. I mean, compared to last year, like obviously I'm not a fan of the team, but they're passionate. Like, weird. I mean, your game out there was just as good as the seat. Out there, I was at Gillette in the tailgate. It was pretty legit.
A week, 10 years ago, because they're like lowest attendance. So we're talking like lowest.
I compared to that. Honestly, like Gillette, tailgate, everything about. That's the location and stuff, but like, no, legit. Just the Patriots, like, pretending low. They let you walk around the stadium. You get to walk around like the stadiums and all. So it's
wow. So you're in the group chat about Boston?
Hey.
I mean, I'm like, about playing the kick thing, but you're back to like stadium. Not guards will fit in it.
What?
To do my Dodger Stadium, like Dodger Stadium's nice.
Wow, Dodger Stadium.
Love Boston, like you're doing.
No.
I'm saying for seeing
Boston. I'm a Pleasantville fan. Is a Boston hater. Like halfback. Like I mean,
He's for the job at the rear.
Oh, that's fine.
Still saying, I mean, like, I don't really know anything about sports radio and their topics, but I mean, it's a good time going about any game. It's been nice as a sports fan to actually know where, you know, care so much and it's so close to the and
we're going to get a journalistic team on how you think, but I just want to know there's like certain athletes in Boston, like I've raised like, and I was Goldbergs or legends out there, but like let's say like, or players like that's like, how do you players when they look back on cats like that?
I mean, I might like view like the franchises and their history. There's definitely about, you know, you got an asset more suspects when you listen to radio shows here, and it's been a lot out there at this point, but I motivate him, but then he comes to big page, and it's just contributions from the running back. Those guys, Sony Michel got shit on so hard. I joke like those versions, just like you can pass, but like a hard time. I mean, talking about baseball, David Price and the Red Sox. Finally, I know he was trained. He's basically, you know, Kershaw, but I know they such a him, and it's just got some co-working and build a black ass and performing and right. So I mean, sports are not as bad. It's just like Banks and Gordon Hayward like fan favorites, and it's just like kind of thing. Like, you know, everyone loves Kelly in Boston. I think is going to play here, but it's like just the, you know, I don't want to say like in my but I mean, there's no different way the outers is, you know, back in Mexico. There's fans are very kind of interesting.
Hey, we just asked going to LA.
Went to New Mexico.
You worked at Dodger Stadium. Cooking food, good taco.
I think we know the answer.
No, I mean, I can't. No.
You saw that you trust.
We do have Easton next to the river, and Easton is pretty legit. They have Colombian spots, a lot of Colombian spots, like good Boston. And my coworkers never heard of Tapatio.
What?
Yeah. Work at, like, you know, your business. It's like this tower. Nobody's across the river. Easton. It's like going to out here. Fine.
Man, for those of you who don't, helped Andrew get by that. Andrew pretty much gave me and Kenny me a job. So.
Yeah, and me and Andrew bonded over the fact that we both liked him, but
honestly, man, this is a dude who pretty much plugged this game. We are.
He's the brain trust. Like, it started he's walking in, winning a contest at the Sundial.
Yeah, that's what it was.
Fuck us.
Yeah, well, back when we, you know, saying until 10 p.m.
12 p.m. Ungodly time. Me and you, coach, just a documentary made, and they're like, I'm sorry, we literally there till like 6 after they came back. 2 later. It all started.
I know. I guess we'll save the whole episode 100.
For sure.
You know, 100 through 100, the listeners know.
Hey, Kenneth,
really
can you wake?
Kenneth,
can you wake up and come to the new Let Me In?
Hey, man, but before we get wrapped up, anything?
I got one last question to ask you.
As far as getting off my, you know, there's some stuff I'll say forever, but I think all I got is, you know, I'm happy to hear you guys. You can say not this far, you know. Starting this off and at the Sundial, like, who would have known that got far, and you guys have been doing it so proudly. You guys keep this up every week. Sometimes wait a bit to hear that when it started, but you know.
You're calling us out.
Drew's low-key.
Yeah, no. I'm probably won't that up, but no, I'm just even a listener, so I'm happy to still be out here.
Win market. From your experience in transition going from seeing kind of old media and new media with that, your experience.
Oh, it's funny. My girlfriend worked at the bus. We came out here and they went bankrupt. They went out here. They sold to beaches, success papers, and
they own the LA Daily.
Yeah, it's happening everywhere. But you know, kind of just seen it. She's still hanging around, but you know, things are changing. It's like I'm out here, you know, getting journalism right away, and it's honestly that's just going on. Some people are going to die soon, but it's to see broadcast, print, and magazine. Like it's really to see like passionate, you know, at least fans, and you know, it's crazy how it's transformed. I know in LA there's still a lot of newspapers trying to compare.
It killed me.
It's crazy, and like. It's hard for a newspaper to survive, especially if that's an older crowd, people who want to and really don't know what's going to happen.
Are you interested in going through that same thing? Outsiders who are willing to kind of up, like, what would you like to take?
I mean, if I was out here, and it does be out here necessarily from here, but I think I've seen it myself, and I was here for a year. I think just that writing was really like important. I think doing your craft, you gotta know, but doing your craft week now. Even if you take off like a month at a time and order like at that point, one person is reading a web page, even if like people are like important to use content. I mean, where you get better at things, so the boss or anywhere after working on your app, like it's going. Nobody's out there working at it.
Yeah, man. Well, thank you for the words. Thank you for support. Thank you for being you. Thank you for being a fan, man. We love you. We appreciate you.
Thanks for being a family. We appreciate you.
Thanks for having me. I'm looking forward to it.
No worries, man.
We're going to eviscerate them. I'm going to tear them a new asshole. I'm not even going to lie to you.
But all right, man. You get some sleep. It's late.
Yeah, this 3-hour difference is killer, but appreciate
Stay safe.
You guys having me. Thanks for letting on.
All right, man. Peace.
Have a good one.
Yeah, so I was Andrew Martinez, our friend, our technical producer, programmer,
Facker, creator, yeah, like that coach on your shoulder.
The dude who can write his own title,
literally.
But yeah, man. So we thank him for coming in, dropping some knowledge about basically Boston and overall his experience in media. So shout out to him. But back to the NFL. We were talking about Halloween costumes and stuff like that.
Back to
the only other person I wanted to shout out was Juju for distributing candy as Michael Myers. I thought that was pretty cool.
Whoa. You're not going to talk about DeAndre Hopkins dressed up as a fucking avatar? That was the craziest shit I've ever seen in my life.
I didn't see that one, but that's
what,
dope.
Bro? You didn't see DeAndre Hopkins dressed up as a full-fledged avatar in
that's
all blue.
Dope. That's pretty dope.
Dog. You haven't... Man, let me show you this real quick. Keep talking. That one Halloween for me. Like, no. Like, he did it early. He's like, I'm an alien on and off the field. I'm like, indeed, you're right.
The other thing that happened this week on Halloween was the NFL trade deadline. Bunch of movement.
Bunch of scary shit happened.
Mainly, biggest thing was, what would you say was the biggest trade of that? I'll say it was HaHa Clinton Dixon going to the Redskins for a 4th-round pick, because not necessarily because he's the best player that moved, but just from a value perspective.
They only got a 4th-round pick for a guy who was that good.
And a 1st-round pick? Oh, damn. This is amazing.
Yeah.
He's legit an avatar.
He looks just like him. And those are his natural locks, too.
That's crazy. And Gary Conley dressed up as Donald Trump in a big-ass blow-up suit. Looked like a emoji. That shit was funny.
Looked like he was in the I Love It video, but he missed the cut. He showed up late to call time. They said 5 a.m., motherfucker. You should have showed up at 5 a.m. You showed up at 5:30, and Kanye was already done.
But yeah, man, what was the biggest trade for you? Golden Tate was a pretty big move to the Eagles, but I feel like they just already don't know what to do with the offensive weapons they already have. So I don't really know how they're going to integrate Tate.
Oh, first off, we gotta. I'm gonna get to that. That's a secondary point. The biggest trade was the Broncos trading Demaryius Thomas to the Houston Texans.
That was a big
for
trade.
A 4th and a 7th, and they swapped 7th-round picks. But here's why. I'm gonna break down trade by trade. This first one, Denver. They're admitting they're tanking. They're doing a slow tank, slow rebuild. Because
that's pretty much what John Elway said.
John Elway, yeah.
He pretty much said, we're going to lose a little bit, but we're going to make it up in youth. I think that was pretty much his verbatim quote. So essentially saying, like, yeah, we're going to tank, but we're actually going to develop our young players. So,
and
which actually makes sense because, number one, Emmanuel Sanders is kind of their go-to receiver, even if he's not the de facto number one. Yeah. He gets the most targets. He gets the most yards.
Like I said, Case Keenum can't throw deep. He doesn't have a big arm. I don't know why people kept saying he does. No, he doesn't. He
and Cortland Sutton, who I was high on and you weren't,
I was high on
actually
him.
Playing good.
You're full of shit,
He's actually playing good.
Bro, I was high on Cortland Sutton. I thought he could have been a 1st-round pick.
We both were, to be honest.
First off, you don't watch SMU football like that.
I was higher on him than you.
Once you saw the combine, and you're like, oh, but I was like, no, he's going to be good. He just has to go to the right place. And I'm tired of these receivers wearing numbers like under the number 17. That shit's nasty. 14 is an ugly number for a receiver.
So shout out to the Broncos building
Cody Lattimore got
SMU receivers.
Yeah, like I think Sutton is Thomas's replacement, and he's cheaper. Not as athletic, but he's still cheaper. But my problem is you got rid of one of the best receivers in team history. to a team in the AFC that is now a Super Bowl contender. They lost Will Fuller and got Demaryius Thomas. All they gave up was a 4th-round pick.
He's not the same deep threat that he was 3 years ago.
Yeah,
though.
he's still a deep threat.
He's not the same burner that he was.
He's still a burner. He caught one last year.
I would say
he can still play. He's like he was never a bum.
No, I'm not saying he's a bum by any means.
He had
he can
injuries
still play.
and he played.
And it's gonna help when he.
But now you can't double team Demaryius Thomas. You can't double DeAndre Hopkins anymore.
That's the biggest thing.
Now the run game will probably get better for Houston. That's why that was the best move because that shoots them right up. All Houston needs is like, okay, this next draft, our first 2 picks should be offensive linemen and corners.
We've seen them do that before. And
No. What's the highest rated offensive lineman they have that they drafted? Xavier Su'a-Filo was trash. Everybody knew it except him.
You knew I was gonna say that.
Yeah, Xavier Su'a-Filo.
You knew I was gonna say that.
Fuck out of here.
You knew I was gonna say that.
Underwhelming at UCLA. Then they fucking got the dude out of Buckner, whatever. I can't even say his name. DeJulian or some weird shit. People who have like a weird ass letter and then a comma, like DeJulian Davenport or some shit out of Bucknell. Like the offensive line is trash. Then they got Martinez Rankins playing out of position at right tackle, giving up an ungodly amount of pressures, more than the Raiders' offensive line did tonight. Like honestly, Martinez was like a center or a guard at Mississippi State. That's what he should be. He should be a center or a guard in that offense, and they have him playing out of position. But now that you have a guy like Demaryius Thomas, where if you put him on the number 2 corner, he's going to eat. If you give him the ball, he'll do great things. That offense in Houston is dangerous now. And that defense has always been there.
Even though you've been talking shit about their running game literally since week 1.
Because their offensive line has been shit since, I don't know, they gave up the dude Dwayne Brown for nothing, and that honestly I think that was a horrible mistake.
They got a 2nd-round pick for him.
Who'd they take in the 2nd round?
I can't remember off the top of my head.
Exactly. There you go. That was a waste of a pick.
Next team.
So yeah, with Houston, they've catapulted themselves honestly to like the 3rd best team in the AFC, behind the Patriots and the Chiefs. Who else is better than them? With that defense travels. Honestly,
is that an indictment? Is that an indictment on how good the Texans are, or an indictment on how trash the rest of the league is?
It's an indictment on how good the Texans are, but how they've been in limbo. I feel like the past 4 years.
I feel like Demaryius Thomas is good.
You can move him around. You can put him in a slide.
He's very good. Like, don't get me wrong. I'm not hating on Demaryius Thomas, but I don't know if they're going to be able to integrate and utilize him in their offense.
He's not Will Fuller.
To where he's actually able to get them over the hump.
I think if DeAndre Hopkins is getting game planned out, you have another guy to go to. They have to roll the coverage over to the side. You can't just leave him one-on-one with your worst corner and hope for the best, or put Demaryius Thomas in the slot and throw the screen.
Can we move on to the next
trade? But Denver, so you're pointing in with Denver, I think they're going to be really bad for a couple of years.
I don't know about that.
Because Case Keenum is trash. They got rid of Chad Kelly.
I don't know about that.
They have no quarterbacks on that roster. The run game, everything else is cool. The receivers are decent. But I think Elway's really biding his time to try to find a quarterback next year. I think they have to tank. They have to tank. You can't go unless you're gonna somehow find a quarterback in free agency, which we already know.
It wouldn't surprise me if John Gruden give up his highest pick, traded it back.
With Denver, you don't trade within your division for the draft. That's stupid.
Wouldn't surprise me.
That's like if the Broncos had traded back with the Raiders.
Surprise me. Would not surprise me.
So the Raiders get Bradley Chubb. You notice they didn't do that. They took Bradley Chubb.
Would not surprise me,
bro. But anyway, next team, it was the
Green Bay Packers. They traded Ty Montgomery and Clinton Dixon, which I already talked about.
I
basically got a 4th and a 7th round pick and didn't get better when they were already kind of in the middle of the pack. And questionable, still relying on Aaron Rodgers to do everything. Like, they could have used Demaryius Thomas or, I don't know.
Patrick Peterson,
yeah, that would have been a good one. But, honestly,
I don't use Le'Veon Bell.
I don't blame them for not getting a corner because I feel like
they have 3 foundational corners.
Yeah, they do.
Kevin King, Josh Jackson,
And Jair Alexander,
who's
Jair
like
Alexander was balling.
He shut down Brandon Cooks for the most part.
He took his lumps for sure. He got beat a couple times, but he competed a lot. He made a lot of plays despite all that.
He's their fastest corner.
And the Raiders passed on him. But yeah.
They passed on Kevin King too. And Josh Jackson.
Yep.
And Josh Jones, who's I think a 5th-round pick. But if you look at it, the Packers were like, they purged that whole defense. The whole defensive secondary, if we're going to be honest. They got rid of they let Morgan Burnett go. They let Trayvon Williams go and he came back. They got rid of DeMarcus Randall. So Tremont Williams is going to play free safety. He's going to convert to free safety full time now, which is smart. I think that's the best position for him. He's probably the most knowledgeable corner. So he can line guys up and make sure they're doing right and clean up and not make sure people don't beat them deep. And you have Tremont Williams, you have Josh Jones back there, I think Kentrell Bryce. So, and you have those 3 corners, Josh Jackson, Jair Alexander, Kevin King. Those are your young bulls. That's your future. That right there, those 3 guys. And they have Brashawn Breeland, who, by the way, lost a bunch of money this offseason because of a foot injury.
And they traded
Ty
Montgomery
for a 7th-round pick to the Ravens.
After he fumbled a kick return.
Wasn't supposed to come out the end zone.
That he wasn't supposed to take.
And then
which essentially lost him the game.
He acted like a punk on the sidelines, apparently, from all the anonymous quotes, because a lot of anonymous Packers were pissed at him. He threw his helmet on the ground like a bitch because they took him out. Well, dude, you're not really a running back. You're always a wide receiver, that niche player. So that's just what you were to them. And since you never really progressed that much as a receiver, and you have Valdez Scantling, Equinamia St. Brown, Devontae Adams, Geronimo Allison.
Which, by the way,
big fast receivers.
Which, by the way, I just wanted to point out
Raiders
after watching that
3 of those guys,
watching that Rams game, it's crazy how a lot of people, not me and you, but a lot of people outside of this room were calling Devontae Adams a bust like 2 years ago.
Like what?
And not just that, but he's pretty much the best receiver in that class, not named Odell.
And Randall Cobb has definitely kind of been a bust. But I don't blame him. I think he'd be better in New England. I think he'd better.
I wouldn't say he's a bust. I wouldn't say.
Since he got paid, dog?
Yeah, he got paid, but yeah.
He deserved to get paid, but it's like he's not. He's predictable in that offense.
I feel what you're saying. Yeah,
he's a predictable piece in that offense, and they clearly have big, strong, fast, young receivers, and Devontae Adams leading the way. That's the future of that offense. So I'm surprised they didn't trade Randall Cobb.
Montgomery,
I get why.
Montgomery basically said on the quote, he was like, I don't know what my role is in the team anymore, so I'm just kind of dealing with that and struggling with that. And
they don't trust me, and I don't. They're like they don't trust.
Now he's a Baltimore Raven,
which is perfect for him because honestly, I think he would be he's like their 2nd or 3rd best receiver.
And
who's Nate Crabtree?
I think
John Brown.
He's actually going to play running back. I'm pretty sure he's going to play running back.
He should play receiver.
They've been saying he's going to play running back
because they have Willie Snead, I think.
I read a quote that they're the 21st ranked rushing offense, and they only have
they have Alex Collins and nobody else. They have Buck Allen, but they have like 3 backs who do the same thing, kind of.
So he adds a mix in there.
Yeah, but still. And then, but I think the Packers are smart. They got draft equity.
And the Redskins.
The 4th-round pick is valuable.
The Redskins are essentially building a defense with everyone who went to Alabama. Wouldn't surprise me if they traded for Reuben Foster in the offseason.
Nah, I think the Redskins solidified that they're going to win the NFC East with that trade.
That's crazy.
DJ Swearinger's been playing like an all-pro all year. Clinton Dix will play better, A, because they all went to Alabama, and B, well, Swearinger went to South Carolina, but he played like he went to Alabama. But you got Swearinger doing what he does. Clinton Dix will fill in that role perfectly as a total upgrade of whoever else was at safety. You have Josh Norman at corner, who's an irritant. And you have Fabian Monroe, who actually isn't bad. And you got other corners on that team. Yeah, I said a UCLA corner isn't bad. Fabian Monroe was nice. I wish the Raiders would have took him, but whatever. But that defense. I don't
think he's starting, but yeah.
But still, coming off the bench, he'll grow, and they have a solid defensive backfield now. I don't see them giving up all those chunk yards anymore. I definitely see them being better against the run. So I would definitely say the Redskins are better at 4-2. The Cowboys are kind of floundering out there. The Giants are trash. But, like, there should be better. There were, like, rumors of Landon Collins being traded, which would have been stupid because he's about to get paid. Clinton Dix is actually on the last year of his rookie deal. So, there you go. Redskins got better. Packers got draft equity. And you know what the Packers do with fourth-round picks and later-round picks. So,
and your Los Angeles Rams, I mean, you and the listeners, added Dante Fowler, former number 4 overall pick.
Nah, he was before Khalil Mack. So 3.
No, he was next draft class. Come on, bro.
Wait, no. Wait, I thought it was Fowler and Cooper?
Yeah.
Fowler and Cooper in the same draft class?
No. You're right. So he must have been 5. He must have been 5. He went after Cooper.
Jacksonville picked before them, didn't they?
So then he was 3? No, Kevin White was 3.
No, Kevin White was 7th. Cooper was 4th. Let me just double check.
Yeah, so basically he was a top 10 pick for the Jacksonville Jaguars in the 2015 class, and traded to the Rams for basically a 3rd round pick and a
2019 3rd round pick and a 2020 5th round pick, which was
genius
for Les Snead.
So yes, the Rams finally got
an edge rusher.
Totally
capable, totally athletic, versatile, and Corey Littleton has been playing his ass off this year.
On special teams, too. But with Fowler, he has had his off-field issues, and he has dealt with injuries.
He had his baby mama and his girlfriend fight the shit, and one of them got the shit beat out of him.
But he hasn't had any of that this year.
Yeah,
so
he's had like a good 2 years.
So he's been staying out of trouble,
and he's just leaving that dumpster fire that is Jacksonville. So.
I think he had his most sacks last season. He has 2 this year.
He had 8 last year,
playing in spot up duty.
But now he's going to be full time playing in front of guys like Aaron Donald and Dominique Sue.
I mean, not like he didn't already have a great defensive line in Jacksonville.
No one on that defense is as good as Aaron Donald.
Yeah, for sure.
Or
not.
Dominique Sue.
For sure not.
Not even close. Calais Campbell got good around a bunch of other guys.
Fowler said he pretty much wants to prove that he is
an
elite, not a bust, and he's also an elite. He wants to prove he's not Deion Jordan, but
which shouldn't be hard because Deion Jordan never had 8 sacks in the season.
He basically wants to prove he's more than just a pass rusher.
But out of Florida, that's what everybody said, that he can do a multitude of things with his athleticism. And I don't think Jacksonville ever used him to his full potential. I think we'll see that with the Rams and with Wade Phillips.
A lot of people compared him to Khalil Mack, even though they said he wasn't as strong, probably a little bit faster.
More of a finesse Khalil Mack.
Yeah,
like Sean Merriman without the steroids, but position versatility.
Von Miller without the size.
Von Miller without the... No, I think he's bigger than Von Miller.
Is he?
I'm pretty sure he's bigger.
Von Miller's pretty big, bro.
Von Miller's only like 6'3", 250. And he looks slim. He's a slim... He doesn't look as strong as he is. But Fowler's a big, strong dude. He's like almost 6'4", around like 250, 260. Von Miller ain't 260. But he's like more of... Von Miller, because he has all that speed and agility, it's different. Fowler is like a miniature version of that, who is super athletic and explosive. And the torn ACLs haven't sapped him. So I think he'll definitely... he'll pretty much be going unblocked if he's lining up behind Aaron Donald. And Brockers and Littleton are already eating. So if you got...
Shout out to Jack and Keith in the chat.
Shout out to them. But yeah, like when it comes to, I think that might have been one of the best deals. The fact that they knew they needed edge rusher, and then Les Snead said that they've been working on that deal for 6 months. That's crazy. 6 months, bro.
I think it's crazy that nobody. Well, the other people they were rumored to get was Shane Ray. I'm surprised nobody made a move for him.
Not really worth that much.
Exactly. So why wouldn't you go and get him?
Because why give up that pick if he's not really going to do anything for your defense?
He's never really been given like an honest chance.
When he did, he produced.
One season he produced. So yeah, that's what I'm saying. He got hurt, lost his spot, and he really hasn't come back since.
But Denver probably wanted more compensation. They got a 4th for. Like, that's crazy. They got
other people who didn't move that surprised you. Patrick Peterson was on the market.
Dayon Buchanan, Hassan
which
Reddick.
We kind of said he wasn't going to move.
So
Gary Young Conley, Carl Joseph for the Raiders.
I kind of
Landon Collins, who you already talked about.
I think Carl Joseph
Norris Jenkins. I felt like both those dudes should have been moved because I feel like they're both going to be.
They're not going to be used.
Jenkins is already paid, and Collins is going to get paid, and they're not going to get used with the Giants.
Collins is that defense on the back end. Don't get it twisted. He's an All-Pro.
Yeah, but I'm just saying,
the wrong guy
might
to
as well
trade.
move him. You're rebuilding. You're 1-7, about to be.
Bro, I'm not rebuilding by trading away my best defensive player. Who's better on defense than Landon Collins? Go ahead. I'll wait. Trade Olivier Vernon because he's already been paid and he's overpriced and he's underperforming. But who on that? Alex Ogletree ain't better than him. Lorenzo Carter's a rookie.
You're 1-7. It really doesn't matter if you can get a first-round pick.
Bro, I'm not giving a first-round pick for a guy I'm going to have to pay. You're going to give him a first-round pick for a guy you have to pay? I got to give you my first-round pick, and I got to pay him.
Do you see the issue here? Do you see the issue here?
He might not want to re-sign with me if I trade with him. That's what you have
the franchise tag for.
So that's stupid.
You have the franchise tag for. But
you can't franchise a guy you traded? I thought that only worked with like the team that drafted him.
No, I'm saying you can use the franchise tag on any trade.
Ah.
Yeah, if the deal's expired, you can use the franchise tag.
Wait, but was he a part of that new CBA where like the 5th-year option thing carries over?
I don't know what you're asking.
Was he a part of the new CBA deal with his draft class?
Yeah.
Oh, never mind. Yeah, he can pretty much he goes wherever they want him to go. But I'm not trading him if I'm committing myself to wanting a good defense. I'm trying to find a free safety to pair with him. I'm trying to find another corner to pair with him. Like, you don't subtract from your defense because if anything, then that pick that you're going to use to find another Landon Collins, you should have been using to finding another guard or a right tackle. It's stupid to just trade him just to say, "Oh, we're going to clean house." You have a future time. You have a offense that has the skill players in place to be dominant for the next 10 years. But you're going to get rid of your best defensive player? Why? Because Eli's trash and the right side of your line is trash? And your defense is young and inexperienced all over the board? That's not a good idea.
All right,
the Giants probably did the best thing by not trading anybody.
Another person who didn't get traded, probably the biggest one, Le'Veon Bell. Is he screwed?
I think he's screwed in the sense that they had the Rams defensive coordinator coming out talking shit about him, saying that they actually win more games without him. They put up more yards without him. And honestly, I really think that the Steelers should have just traded him. But at this point, it's just a matter of who's going to out-petty who. I think had he reported, they probably would have traded him. But since he didn't report, and he's probably not going to report till the deadline just to get his money, if he's really going to go all in and forfeit, then honestly, he might just be the Kaepernick of running backs. Or the Kurt Flood of running backs, I should say. Because Kurt Flood, in baseball, sat out for free agency and won, and then got blackballed and never got any money. Le'Veon is kind of in that same realm, but when it comes to NFL running backs, where it's like you need to pay top running backs all at the same time when they're good. Like, there's no reason why you shouldn't be paying guys like Le'Veon, guys like David Johnson. You should be paying them in their prime, not saying, "Oh no, we don't negotiate, we don't do this, we don't do that." That's bogus.
I've heard people say that he might not even play. Like, the Steelers just might not even play him.
They're not going
Which
to.
is really crazy when you think about it. Number one.
First off, Connor's not a better player than he is. Connor's just having a better start. They're galvanizing around Connor. Like, when an offensive line really believes in you and galvanizes around you, whereas, like, if they hate your guts and they're not really as willing to block for you, like, that's a toxic environment for Le'Veon Bell. He can't go back in there, and his teammates, his offensive teammates, clearly don't want him there. Or if they say they do, talking on another man's money is kind of really disrespectful and wrong. I wouldn't want to be there. I wouldn't step foot in there. I'm like, no, I'm going to salvage my body for whatever team I go to. I report just so I can be a part of the team.
And honestly, the Steelers should just take him back, no questions asked, because getting a fresh Le'Veon Bell when the whole league is pretty much wide open, why wouldn't you want that?
But they're selfish because they don't want to pay him.
Why wouldn't you want to get a ring? Like, Why would you let your own pettiness get in the way of you winning the ring? But that's
what the team is using against him, and it's like, dog, if you go to work, Pete, and let's say you work and you put in record numbers, and you were the face of your company for like the first 4 years, you're there, and all of a sudden they just don't pay you. It's like, wait, like I need my contract renewed. Like I need, like no, just come in and keep working, keep doing what you're doing. We'll eventually find a way to pay you. You'd be like, the fuck? Let me use all my sick leave. I'm out.
You just described a scenario that happens to millions of Americans,
but they don't have any leverage.
Especially people in the journalism and publication world. So like,
but do they have leverage?
It's not worth comparing it because.
But I'm saying if they said
that wasn't a good example, that didn't prove your point.
Kind of what, that didn't. Journalism is its own shit show dumpster fire in itself. I'm saying
it's the same thing with
no. Listen, we're just not going to pay you. You have
that
to report.
Happens all the time.
We're just not going to pay you, bro. I'm not coming in. I'm looking for another gig, or you're just gonna have to. You're gonna have to take the next step in this. And with the Steelers and Le'Veon, if you got the Ravens defensive coordinator coming in talking shit, like that was a concerted effort against this dude, and people are piling on him. There was already negative reporting against him in the media, so it's like, nah, I'm doing what's best for me, and his agent should be doing what's best for Le'Veon. I'll report, but. Dog, you're not going to pay me. You didn't want to trade me. So clearly, this isn't about business anymore.
All right, man. So let's move on. Let's move on and talk about the Raiders.
I wish we had a vomit sound. Can I get 2 more of those? And the side of the
Yeah, so the Raiders just got smoked on Thursday Night Football versus the formerly 1-7 San Francisco 49ers, who rolled out a second-string quarterback in his second year out of Southern Miss. So, yeah, that happened. You can't write that sort of stuff, but, hey, it happens when you have a coach who doesn't know what he's doing. You have players retiring in the middle of the season. Shout out to Dominique Rodgers-Cromartie, who actually was just signed, like, 4 weeks ago.
Wasn't getting no playtime.
He was getting playing time. He just didn't get playing time last week.
He was at 85 on Madden.
Which, by the way, is dumb as fuck because the Raiders essentially played Carl Joseph and Garyon Conley last week. They actually played decent and played hard so that they could try and trade them, and then pretty much went back to playing their old safeties who can't run this week, which was dumb because they got beat and gave up touchdowns to
Nick Nelson played Pierre Garçon,
who always goes off against us, like historically with the Colts, Redskins. He always goes off.
Yeah, and just want to point out the Raiders had pieces to trade. They just didn't do it.
I don't think they got value. The thing is, I don't think they got value for them. Like Conley was a first-round pick.
We gotta
2 seasons ago. KJ was a first-round pick 3 years ago. So they weren't going to get equal value for them because they both haven't been performing.
They haven't been playing.
So that's what I'm saying. You might as well play them and give them a chance to return that value. But the fact that you didn't trade them and you're still not playing them, it doesn't really make sense.
It's an abusive stepfather relationship.
And I really don't blame other veteran players on the Raiders who are asking for releases and retiring and quitting. And honestly, I really don't even know how Bruce Irvin didn't get
his
traded,
papers.
And I feel bad for Kalichi Osemele, who's probably playing through injury. Came back this week finally
and got knocked on his ass.
And he's been getting knocked on his ass because he hasn't been that good this year. But I think I'm thinking it has something to do with the injuries he's been.
And they had a rookie left tackle next to him, so him and Donald Penn had a certain synergy.
And Rodney Hudson's been the only consistent person along that line.
Poor Rodney Hudson.
By the way,
the Chiefs to the Raiders.
Colton Miller
got hurt.
Actually got hurt. So
Ian Silverman was
literally.
David Sharp came back too.
I actually wrote a blog about this on Silverman blog, which you can check out. But I said, are the Raiders the worst team in the NFL? And when you really break it down, you look at all the sorry-ass teams, Number one, the Raiders barely beat the Browns, who have 1.5 wins more than them.
I just want to point out
They lost to the Colts, who have 2 wins more than them. And they just lost to the 49ers, who now have a win.
Yeah.
But when you break down
and the starting running back,
when you break down the Raiders' actual roster and you think about, okay, do they have the core building blocks that you need? Do they have a corner? Do they have a quarterback? Do they have a running back? Do they have a receiver? Do they have an O-line, D-line? Raiders have none of that. The Raiders have a quarterback who is supposedly the future of the franchise, depending on who you ask, depending on the week, and depending on how he develops with his coach. You have a running back who's 30, who we keep saving for the playoffs, even though we're not going to make the playoffs, but nobody really wants to talk about that. And then we have a bunch of old receivers because we traded our best one, even if we did get fair value. And edge rushers, well, they're trash. I think the Raiders had 7 sacks, which was the low point in the league. So, yeah, Raiders pass rush is trash. And
shout out to Frosty Rucker, defensive of the Oakland Raiders, liking our Instagram post earlier.
And they drafted a left tackle in the first round, which probably would have been a bright spot, but then he gets hurt and he's playing inconsistent. So, yeah. I don't know.
The Organic Frost. That's his Instagram name.
The Raiders really got a lot of problems going on, and it really hurts my soul because this was the last Battle of the Bay, which if you actually look at the history.
It's quite violent because Niners fans are horrible people.
If you actually look at the history, the Raiders and 49ers have actually only played 9 games as the Battle of the Bay because the Raiders spent 20 years in L.A.,
left and came back.
Joe Montana and Steve Young actually never even played the Raiders in the Bay. You'd have to actually go back to like the 70s, which the best game was kind of the one that birthed Ken Stabler when he came in for Derek LaMonica and they came back to win. Outside of that, and then we had the Khalil Mack game where he pretty much single-handedly beat the team.
Yeah,
his rookie year, and that was like our first win of the season.
Yeah,
and really our only bright spot in the Dennis Allen days.
Oof.
So, yeah, man, the Raiders had one job. It was to beat the 49ers in the Nick Bosa Bowl or whatever, the first-round pick. And they didn't do it.
Bowl.
They looked trash. And even last week against the Colts, they lost. They lost. It was a competitive game, but they played hard, and they looked like they were having fun again. And I was actually kind of getting excited again. I felt like, oh, maybe this is a turning point. And then Thursday night, you go out and lay that egg in a game that's literally in your backyard, that's literally closer to you than the actual San Francisco 49ers game, and you lost. Miserably, horribly. And in the retros, in the alternates, you don't lose in the alternates.
You don't lose in the color rush?
First rule.
I think that's their first loss in the color rush.
First rule of any sports is you never lose in the alternate jerseys. You can't take a chance, be like, hey, we're going to wear our alternate jerseys that we never wear on this game, on that calendar, and then get your ass whooped.
That's happened to teams I've played on a couple times. Pretty sure the same thing with Pete. It happens. It does happen.
It's not supposed to happen.
It's never supposed to happen. But it happens.
But, yeah, outside of that, any other thoughts, anything that you want to add to my Raiders rant?
I think I pointed this out in a group chat or just somewhere. I said, this Raiders cast is kind of like Power. I think I said John Gruden is Proctor.
I'm going to need you to stop comparing the Raiders to popular culture every single week.
No, that's the funny fucking part. Tyreek is... Shit, I forgot who Tyreek is.
Ain't nobody watching fucking Power.
No, Tyreek is the most hated, though. So I damn it, it was a good one.
Do you even have a Star subscription?
No, I don't. I just watch other people talk shit about it. No, I'm going to cycle back around to who I said was what. But just the bottom line is, man, the Raiders are so bad. Oh, by the way, Derek Carr is Tommy. Yeah. Like, it's gross and disgusting how just inept they are on the field, but the decisions made off the field. Like, Amari Cooper for a first-round pick is probably the best trade they've had since, the Charles Woodson trade? Because Randy Moss trade was terrible.
Woodson left in free agency.
What's left in free agency?
He left in free agency.
I thought he got traded.
No, he didn't resign. The John Gruden trade is probably the best trade they've ever had, and they still didn't do anything with those first-round picks.
Wow.
So, yeah, man. Can we move on?
Yeah, but I'm going to come back to that power reference.
All right, man. So, get to your college football spot.
So, Texas lost to Oklahoma State like 38-31 last week. They were ranked 6th in the country, and they're like, "Oh my God, Texas is back. They're a playoff team." Fucking dumbasses! I told y'all Texas is trash. When are you gonna listen to me? But they didn't start 2 of their corners for like team violations or whatever, and they gave up like I think 300 passing yards or 260 passing yards in the first quarter to Oklahoma State. Yeah, 260 passing yards. That's more than what Derek Carr had tonight. Derek Carr had like 171. They gave up 260 passing yards in the first quarter to Texas. I mean, Texas gave up 260 passing yards without their 2 starting corners to Oklahoma State. And then there was like some shit that happened. And after the game was over between Tom Herman and Mike Gundy, Mr. Mullet wearing Mike Gundy. Yeah, it's nasty. Apparently, like, he keeps the mullet because at first he started like, oh, his kid was getting bad grades. Until his kid got better grades, he'd keep the mullet. So, I mean, I guess Mike Gundy's kid is fucking stupid because he still has the mullet. Just saying. But Mike Gundy said something really stupid after the game. But before I get to that, Emmanuel Acho, former All-American linebacker for Texas, he played there. He talked about the corners. He's like, how are you going to get benched and then play really bad the whole game? Like, that just looks bad on your part. Like, you can't do that. That's not Texas football. That's not the way. And the same dude got at him on Snapchat and Instagram, was like, sick of this fucking dude. Like, he wants to come up there and shake our hands on some, like, rah-rah type shit. But then you want to use your media job to shit on us. That's pretty much what he was just saying. And there was some bad blood. Like, they're like, yo, you banned from the facility. Don't come up here. No association, this, that, and the third. Like, don't come around us. You talking all that shit about us. And it was an interesting dynamic because I've been that alumni who's seen the team he played for turn to shit, and you're like, y'all are trash. What happened? Like, I remember when Londale lost to Hawthorne after I graduated. Hit up one of my homeboys. I was like, what's going on? Why you guys so trash? And he just shook his head. He's like, dog, you have to ask him that. And it's true, because he was honestly the best player on the team. And him and another guy, and everybody else is trash. But that's just how it goes. That was just a talent standpoint. But this thing with Texas and Emmanuel Acho, he came on, College Football Live and talked about it. Like, it's my job as a journalist to not be biased. So, yeah, they got his ass, but he told the truth. Like, y'all were trash. It was gross. Okay. Next story.
Maryland?
Yeah. Honestly, I'll save the Mike Gundy one for next week.
I mean, you already kind of touched on it.
Nah, he said something really stupid. I don't have the time and the energy to really delve into it. But I'll save it for next week because I know he's going to say something even stupider next week. I fucking hate Mike Gundy.
You didn't hate him like a year ago,
I hated
2 years ago.
I hated him in the Des Bryant situation. I hated him when he ruined that one kid, Bobby Reed's career. Go back and read that story. Number 14, black quarterback, like the highest rated recruit in Oklahoma State history. Went there. He did some dirty shit to him, and he ended up at Sam Houston State. You never heard from him again. So, yeah, fuck Mike Gundy. I got an issue with how he does some things, especially how he treats his players, and he's on some MAGA shit, too. But I said,
well, you might as well just address it now.
I'm going to talk about it next week because I have to unpack. It's a whole thing, and it speaks to the culture that he kind of has. But whatever.
Speaking of horrible cultures.
Maryland. Fear the Terrapin. We must protect this house. Yeah, that was the thing. When they're still sponsored by Under Armour, but we must protect this house. When like Vernon Davis and some other people were there, that was their shit. But clearly they didn't protect the house because the Maryland Board of Regents voted in favor of reinstating DJ Durkin this week, only for him to be fired a day later.
Which, if you haven't been following the story, basically there was a student who...
Jordan McNair, say his name.
Jordan McNair, who died of heat exhaustion in June.
And negligence.
And pretty much it's already been found. And the university's already said that they have responsibility for it.
The school president's going to step down and retire, but he's going to retire in June anyway.
Well, the whole thing with the school president is basically he said...
He's embarrassed.
Yeah, he was embarrassed. Basically what he said was, how can you not find this person at least somewhat responsible for it? And he said that you want me to reinstate him. And they said, yeah, you're going to reinstate him or you're the one who's going to have to be fired. And he said, you know what? Well, fuck it, I'll retire.
Yep.
And that's pretty much what he did. He's like, I'm not gonna stand for this. I'm not going to let this happen. And
retiring in June.
I'm retiring in June.
And the regent on the board, James Davis or some shit like that, he immediately resigned after the decision was made. The head of the regent board. So there's that, but then there's another element. There was a fight the day DJ Durkin came back. By the way, the parents the whole time, they were constantly adamant and like formed coalitions and shit like that, so that DJ Durkin wouldn't come back because they're like, he's a cancer to the program.
His dad basically said it was
Jordan
like somebody spit in his face after they already punched him in the stomach. So, yeah.
Like, how can you sit up here and reinstate and have this dude back? There are players on Instagram saying, we got to touch a logo and kiss a logo and a living tribute to our dead teammate, and this dude gets to come back and no one's punished for it. It's disrespectful. That was one of the comments made after I think they beat Illinois like 63-30.
Fuck Will Kane.
It's always fuck Will Kane. And fuck his mom for having him. But anyway. And his dad for even meeting his mom. But anyway.
But basically the reason why I said Will Kane is because, you know, he was talking about it on First Take earlier. And his whole point was, and I get some of it, what he was saying is he's not cool with it because they weren't going to fire him, and which they did fire him a day after reinstating him. They weren't going to fire him, but they fired him because of public reaction instead of firing him because they felt that he was responsible, or firing him because, well, he was like 5-7 and 6-5 the past 2 seasons, and this team is like only has 3 losses without him and is essentially better without him. They were like, yeah, you could have fired him off of all that, but you didn't, and then you just fired off of him because everyone told you to, which is weak and corny, which I get, but at the same time, Will Kane, just shut the fuck up.
Because you're a trash human being, and you said some really racist shit in the past, and yeah, we're not going to.
Yeah, man. If you like Will Kane, you probably don't like this show anyway. So,
and if that's the case, I kind of hope you wake up and sprain your ankle. But anyway, in addition to that, there was another conundrum. The same day Durkin came back to practice, there was a fight. A backup punter was beaten up, had footballs thrown at him by teammates who were actually in support of Durkin. They felt like, in the story from the Baltimore Sun, they did a great job of reporting on it. They have like 5 different stories. But this one, where backup punter gets into a fight, and they essentially, like, I guess one of the starting punter and a bunch of other teammates who supported Durkin start beating on him. He gets punched in the eye. He has a black eye. They start holding him back, and then they just start jumping him. Like, a bunch of guys put his hands behind his back and then let the punter, the other guy, just punch him in the face repeatedly. They pretty much jumped him, beat the shit out of him, dislocated his shoulder. I would, honestly, if I was him and his family, aside from snuffing somebody, snuffing everyone involved, even if I got to come back on senior day in front of your family, I'm snuffing you. You don't get to live long after doing that to me. But anyway, that's a side note. Aside from suing the whole fucking school, like, they wouldn't have a program if you did that to me. But anyway, he says that, you know, he was a whistleblower, essentially, for the Durkin situation, talking about things that happened that went into certain reports, things that happened off the field, in the program, and a lot of people on the team apparently blamed him for it. But the backlash on social media is that a bunch of his teammates come out saying that's a bold-faced lie. That's not what happened. The other side of the story is saying that the backup punter was picking on a bunch of underclassmen, so they stepped in and they beat his ass. But that, if you know anything about gang mentality or just being on a football team where one person isn't really liked for telling the truth, or vice versa, whatever the roles may be, that group mentality, 9 times out of 10 is usually wrong. But, we don't know.
Or lying.
Or lying. Because, all those people are saying that he was bullying a bunch of people. So it took all y'all to whoop his ass and give him a black eye and a dislocated shoulder. And, let's not forget, he's the backup punter. The backup punter got a black eye and a dislocated shoulder, and some of the players who were pro DJ Durkin coming back all of a sudden had free range. They felt like they had free range to heckle and taunt this kid. I'm just saying, how many schools is the backup punter getting his ass beat? Is the backup punter at Ohio State getting his ass beat? Is the backup receiver getting his ass beat at Ohio State?
That's a whole nother wormhole because we have Urban Meyer's that damn baby.
He swear he's not going to retire.
He's
that damn. Come back.
He's already setting it up. He's that damn baby that cries so much.
Former USC coach. He's going to be next to USC head coach.
The next ex-USC coach.
Or Les Miles. USC should just not bring USC guys who have ties to USC.
Yeah, but Urban Meyer's that kid that cries so hard until they start throwing up, and then they just keep throwing up. Yeah, and then they actually start throwing up, and it's
then they shit themselves.
And then you're just mad at them even more because they're crying and bawling, and they shit or threw up on themselves.
And then they're like, I'm sorry. You're so fucking pathetic in this moment that I have to take mercy on you just to be a good human being. But what you still did was wrong.
Retiring from Florida and then coming back to Ohio State 6 months later.
And then Ohio State having a bunch of... By the way, shout out to Breontae Dunn, former Ohio State running back, was acquitted and proven that the rape charges against him were totally fucking false. But his life's ruined, his NFL dreams were ruined, and his college eligibility was worn out. So he can't go to college, he can't go to the pros. His life was ruined behind a false rape charge. So, yeah.
All right, man.
Former Ohio State running back. Look up Breontae.
Is that good for college football? Because we don't have a lot of time. Even though I hate keeping time on a podcast.
Yeah, pretty much. That's some wild shit.
Yeah, college football is crazy.
Maryland, that's some wild shit. After USC got pretty much beat up. Who'd they lose to again this week? They lost to Utah. They lost again this week. It looks like Clay Helton's probably going to get fired at the end of the year. But whatever. UCLA's uber trash.
All right, so let's make this one quick.
Washington State's ranked 8th in the country, by the way. USC beat them early in the season because Washington State beat Oregon.
All right, man. So let's do touchdown or turnover. Make it quick. So teams like the Oakland Raiders are getting partnerships with casinos, but besides all that, it's a big time for Vegas. They actually just had their biggest month of all time. September, I don't have the figures in front of me, but basically millions of people betted millions of dollars, and it was the highest millions that have ever exchanged in a Vegas book. And that's with other states like New Jersey, New Mexico opening up sports books for the first time ever. Essentially, didn't matter for Vegas. Competition's still hot. NFL started up, and September was a big month. So, is Vegas having a big month during the NFL? Is that a touchdown or a turnover?
Anything involving Vegas is a touchdown because the house always wins.
Well, man, it depends on who you're looking at it from.
Bro, they're from whoever is owning that fucking land that's being built right now. That's who's winning, the developers. And everybody who runs the sports
shout out
books.
To my uncle. But yeah, besides all that,
I
think it's a turnover because the conflict of interest. Because here we are, this whole league.
Did you just say conflict of interest?
Yeah.
Where's my sound effect?
All these.
I need my plot twist sound effect. Far right corner at the top. Far right corner at the top. That one. That's the plot twist. Conflict of interest?
The point is, There's a conflict of interest because the NFL and the NBA and all these leagues have been ducking betting, legalized betting, and now they're probably going to find a way to make some money off of it because guess what? Vegas is already making a tons of money, and I don't like the notion of that only because we got refs getting fired in midseason because they're making bad calls, and who knows what else they're doing. So, yeah. Next one up, T.O., your boy, Terrell Owens, was on, I think he was on some sport legacy or mainstream sports media podcast or show, and basically said he still remembers the play that ended Steve Young's career. It was a corner blitz. Aeneas Williams, Hall of Famer, one-time Ram, long-time Cardinal, safety corner blitz. He was covering T.O., came, cleaned Steve Young's clock, and gave Steve Young the final concussion that ended his career. T.O. says he feel like he could have did something to stop it. Should he have chopped him? Should he have blocked him? Even though the running back was actually technically supposed to be picking him up and missed him.
Pick up.
So is it a touchdown or turnover that T.O. still feels this guilt?
Man, this isn't really a touchdown or a turnover. It's just a human thing. Like you could tell T.O. he cared about a lot of his teammates. He really did.
That's a good
take.
He
gave his body.
That's a good take on it. Yeah, man. I'm gonna say it's a turnover because T.O. had a great career, and yeah, it's nice to think about playing with Steve Young for another couple more years and what that possibly could have led to. But you already had a great career. You already made the Hall of Fame. You're already amongst the league's leaders in receptions. Like, you don't need to feel sorry for something that was really out of your control. That's what makes this game both hard and beautiful is the fact that it ends at every single time.
Painfully
I get what you're saying. Yeah, I get what you're saying. But at the same time, I mean, you can't go around feeling sorry for every single teammate that has a career-ending injury because if that were the case, like, you'd have hundreds of bodies in the
touchdown
closet.
Catch against the Packers, like where T.O. cried, like that was an emotional moment. Like, he really latched on to Steve Young. And shit, man, like something like that. Yeah, like I remember the dude who injured me in high school, even though he talked shit about me after the fact.
Nobody cares.
No, like he cried hysterically, like when he first saw me, after I got the cast put on and everything, because I got injured like the last day of Hell Week, and he felt bad. So like in situations like that where it's like, yo, it's a football play, shit happens. People have that, like he carries that with him. He's the kind of guy where he carries a lot of shit with him. So,
all right, man. You want to give your one on Hugh Jackson? Can you do it in a way that's a touch where it makes sense for touchdown or turnover?
Okay, so we're gonna say Browns Gate. So, touchdown or turnover?
The Browns firing both Hugh Jackson and
Todd Haley.
Yeah, I'm gonna say it's a touchdown because I feel like Hugh Jackson was going to get fired anyways at some point, regardless of what he did, unless he was going to take this team to the playoffs, which, I mean, it was a possibility. They could have easily been 4-2, but they lost too many close games, and I felt like Hugh was always going to be the sacrificial lamb, and the fact that he took Todd Haley with him is good because hopefully that's one less white OC who's going to be rehashed. Shout out to Mike McCoy, wherever you are. If you get a job next year, I'm going to be thoroughly pissed because that'll be 3 years in a row you got fired mid-season. So how do you keep getting jobs? Not that I'm trying to take money out of your pocket, but at least go to the college game. Which, by the way, Hugh Jackson would be a great college coach. I really think Hugh Jackson would be an awesome college coach.
You actually have
He'd be able to recruit. He'd be able to have control. He might actually have longevity and support. I mean, we've seen...
He got fucked twice. Oakland and Cleveland. Let's be honest.
I mean, look how long...
a dumpster fire.
Look how long Dave Wanstead stayed in the college ranks.
Look how long Dave Wanstead stayed in the NFL. Nick Saban was the head coach at one point. Let's talk about it.
But, yeah, I think you brought up the point off air that basically Hugh kind of said that he wanted to take Carson Wentz. He wanted to take all these other quarterbacks, but the Browns didn't let him. And so it was kind of messed up that they made him wait They took Baker, and now some other coach is probably going to reap the benefits of Baker. Which also, I know I'm rambling on this whole issue, but isn't it fucking ironic that Greg Williams is their interim head coach? Like, Greg Williams,
That's
the dude
nasty.
who was blackballed
Bounty
from the
gate.
league for a full year, like full on dark.
That was what he should have been suspended for, though.
I think
for taking bounties out on players.
Yeah, I think Kornheiser said he basically had to wear a disguise when he came back his first year on the sideline. And now he's the head coach of the Browns, and his son's probably going to be the defensive coordinator.
It's nasty.
So
but I can see why you didn't want to fire like the entire coaching staff. But honestly, what's his face, the offensive coordinator? Todd Haley is an asshole, and he's been in it for himself his entire career. Wasn't that great of a head coach in Arizona, if we keeping it a buck. And he honestly, even from Hard Knocks, you could tell, like, this shit ain't going to work. He really is an asshole, and he just doesn't respect Hugh Jackson. He's saying guys are hurt, we're going to, like, take it easy and not play them. He's like, well, I kind of need my guys. It's like, motherfucker, when you have a chance to run your own head organization as a head coach, you can do it your way. Until then, I'm not going to put my guys and have them injured. He was talking about Duke Johnson. Like, I'm not going to have these guys injured out here just because you want to practice them to death. That's stupid.
All right, so real quick before we wrap it out, it is the midseason, so make it quick. Like, I'm talking like one sentence answers. Give me your MVP. Give me your biggest disappointment. And give me your biggest surprise. And that could be either a player or a team. And we can get into it more next week. But, yeah.
I'm going to start with the biggest. She said biggest what? So,
biggest surprise, biggest disappointment, and what's the other one? MVP.
Okay. I'm going to say biggest surprise, Adam Thielen. I wasn't expecting this amount of elite consistency.
Okay, next.
Biggest disappointment. The entire Tampa Bay Buccaneers organization. Like,
for giving up on Jameis?
No, you have all this talent, you fuck it off, and you have this, honestly, you have a college head coach who was decent at best, and Dirk Cutter in there. You fire Mike Smith, who's a shitty defensive coordinator, I get that. Quan Alexander tears his ACL. And it's like, bro, you have all this talent. So the point where, like, Deshaun Jackson wants a trade because he's not getting the ball and he's being horribly misused in that offense, which he is. Because the first 2 weeks of the season, he was averaging like 35 yards a catch and like 4 fucking touchdowns. It was literally unstoppable. Like, he should have went to Oakland. I'm going to say it. Deshaun Jackson should have went to Oakland.
His last 2 stops.
He should have went to Oakland because Derek Carr would have got him the ball. But, you know, hey, it is what it is. It's just, an MVP? I'm going to shock you with this one. Cam Newton.
I've heard
completing like 66% of his passes. Norv Turner has done a great job with Cam Newton because he's actually flushed out the skeleton of that offense and is actually making Cam Newton a better quarterback, which is something Mike Shula never fucking did. Let's just rely on all these play concepts to burn his legs out and his arm. He's not getting hit as much, and he's still doing it with the fact that his right tackle, Darrell Williams, is on IR. So,
and bonus Rookie of the Year.
Rookie of the Year? Offense or defense?
Either one.
I'm going to go... Denzel Ward.
Okay.
The Browns. He's made them a competent defense. And really, people were like, he might not be the right pick. Turns out, he's going to be a stud.
All right, man. So my biggest disappointment this year, I would say, is the Jacksonville Jaguars. Between giving Blake Bortles all that money, between Leonard Fournette's injuries, between Jalen Ramsey looking elite, and then all of a sudden losing his confidence, and really that reflecting to the entire defense, and the fact that, yeah, they're behind the Texans and the Colts, which are both low-key trash teams in the AFC South. That's just the overall big disappointment because we were talking about this potentially developing not just into a Super Bowl contender, but a team that can compete consistently and potentially develop into a dynasty. And here they are at 3-4. Biggest surprise. Seattle Seahawks, man. We all were kind of set up for a sort of rebuild transition year. And honestly, not only have the Seahawks competed and been surprising, which I kind of expected from a Pete Carroll-led team, but they've actually gotten better. Their defense is actually top 3 in the NFL right now, which is shocking considering all the star power they've lost over the past 2 years. Russell Wilson just had like a perfect QB rating where he completed like 70% of his passes, and he's actually throwing the ball a lot, like 60 times. Their running backs, they have a slew of them that have been good in different spots. Their offensive line is mediocre, which is a step up for them. And you take that all into consideration with the fact that we were kind of set expectations that the 49ers and the Cardinals might actually be better than the Seahawks, and that just hasn't been the case. So yeah, I say the Seahawks, and then my MVP, man, it's got to be Todd Gurley. Not only is he on the best team, but he's the best player on the best team. He does everything for them. I was talking to my pops about it when we were watching the Rams-Raiders game at Buffalo Wild Wings, and he thinks he's better than Steven Jackson just because of some of the highlight plays he can make and that extra gear that he has.
He has an extra gear over Gurley, I would say that.
So, and he made a great catch in the end zone. If you didn't see it, one-handed catch that I was like, that's like a Marshall Faulk catch right there.
Yeah, he catches like a wide receiver. He catches downfield. He's not like Zeke where he catches a lot of screen passes and then makes stuff happen with his running ability. So I get that.
And my rookie of the year, I want to say Patrick Mahomes. Yes, I know he's not actually a rookie.
We're not doing this NBA shit. Get the fuck out of here.
I know he's not actually a rookie.
No, I'm not giving all these fucking light skinned dudes passes. No.
Fine. It's
no.
Saquon Barkley.
Thank you. Shit.
Unwillingly, because I shitted on him a couple weeks ago, which I still shit on him.
You shit on Todd Gurley, but you seem to fucking get over it. It was just years ago.
Yeah, but other than that, man, this is the Touchdowns and Tangent Show. Let's get to our rants before I'm late and get my ass beat. You go first.
All right, cool. I got a couple things on my mind. First, Adrian Peterson is better than Earl Campbell.
You're petty for waiting until the mic's muted.
Yeah, I purposely waited till the mic was muted. Yeah, I just want to point that out, man. That Adrian Peterson is one of the greatest football players we've ever seen. Earl Thomas, I have utmost respect. Earl Campbell.
Like Texas players.
No, I like Texas players.
Literally hate Texas players.
I hate most Texas players, but I feel bad for Sergio Kendall. He fractured his skull, never got off to a right start in Baltimore. That was really sad, but I definitely used him on Madden all the time. But Lyman Sweet was fucking trash. That's why I don't trust Colin Johnson. I don't trust Texas wide receivers. Texas tight ends are usually pretty reliable. But shout out to a tweet that was talked about earlier this week. Eli Manning has the pocket presence of Plaxico Burress. I fucking died when I heard that. I died. Shout out to Terry. I love you, man. But I'm telling you, Earl Campbell does not hold a fucking candle to Adrian Peterson. He was an NFL-ready player as a freshman coming out of high school, had almost 2,000 yards rushing in Oklahoma, pretty much carried Jason White to a fucking Heisman ceremony, which he had no business being at. And, you know, he won the Heisman the year before, but, like, he literally, as a freshman, got shut down by an NFL USC defense. But he was so great that he broke his fucking collarbone as a junior, came back to carry a shitty Oklahoma team that Paul Thompson, who was a receiver, converted back to quarterback and almost beat Boise State, the greatest Boise State team ever. Aside from that, A side note, I say that Boise State team, Kellen Moore's junior year was the greatest Boise State team ever, but their fucking kicker missed that field goal against Nevada. But yeah, so just Adrian Peterson's better than Earl Campbell. Sorry, get used to it. Another thing I want to say is, man, and Pete, like I was talking to Pete about this before we came on the air, and it's kind of true, man. It's funny, like I was talking about how like I saw some disrespectful shit the other day, and it really pissed me off. And it triggered me to go back to a place of like just rage and hostility that I haven't really been at in a while. So I'm glad I caught myself. And actually it happened last night. It happened like literally last night, I'm being honest. Like I went into a fucking rage. Like legit raging, like maximum raging. But anyway, yeah. Adrian Peterson's better than Earl Campbell. And shout out to the Touchdowns and Tangents Go 73 Deep Fantasy Football team because pulled off an ass whooping last week. I started 5.
All right, you're way over time. You're way over time, and nobody cares about your fantasy team. Yeah, man. So, a couple things I want to say. I already ran it on the Raiders, so I don't need to go there. Shout out to Courtside Radio. They were short, so I was here early, hopped on the podcast.
Clippers suck!
Yeah, they pretty much said that throughout the show, but we talked about a lot of things, man. We talked about the Minnesota Timberwolves, all the underachieving teams in the NBA, the scoring. We talked about the Lakers, Kobe's potential return that's not going to happen, and a bunch of things. So make sure you check them out. Shout out to the Good News Sports. Outside of that, I'm excited for another opportunity next week. I'll be in New York. Hopefully be able to call in to Kenny. But yeah, man, I've been trying to get to New York for a minute. Got an opportunity to go out there on some work-ish stuff. Going to be developing my own thing, so stay tuned for that. And the last point is episode 100. I know we kind of dropped the ball on it as far as like, you know, shifting our whole episodes up 5 episodes and not even really realizing it for like 2 months. But honestly, it's kind of a blessing in disguise because we have more time to promote it. I mean, you see how people are excited about it. We got Andrew calling in from Boston. My friend was going to drive 2 hours out here. You know, the Good News was going to do something for us. Like, so it's great that people really fuck with us. The Taco Man outside was excited. So it's great that people really fuck with us, and I'm excited that we have a little bit more time to promote it and make it extra special and really talk about different things and give people a chance to pull up and listen. But honestly, as I've said many times, I mean, 100 is great. It's a great number to hit that triple digits, but it's just business as usual, and I hate to downplay it and be cliche like that, but that's just kind of what it is because regardless of what we call this podcast, regardless of where it's posted or distributed, I feel like me and Kenny are always going to do this in some shape or form for some shape or form. So for me, I feel like we've already passed 100 because we have, and even if it's been under names, I feel like even if it's not officially 100, like Andrew said, there's always something to celebrate. Outside of that, AP is overrated, but yeah. This has been Touchdowns and Tangents Radio. We thank you for listening.
Reggie McKenzie is Ghost. Yeah, I just realized that.
Yeah, shout out to Jackie who was going to bring the champagne, but outside of that, man.
Put it on ice, Jackie. Just put the champagne on ice.
Shout out to the Good News Radio Station. Shout out to Good News Sports. Shout out to X Squad affiliates, X Squad Radio, FPC Radio. Shout out to your favorite podcast app, SoundCloud, YouTube, Instagram, Twitter.
Not really SoundCloud. They have really shitty
TDs_tangents. You can catch us there. Hopefully on speaker when we upgrade the account. And
can we just upload it straight to Spotify? Because
tell me that again. Tell me that again.
Why do you hate Spotify so much?
You know I hate Spotify because I don't use Spotify.
Because you pay for Tidal and Spotify?
Number one.
You have Tidal and fucking Apple and Spotify?
Number one, I don't use Spotify because I don't like Spotify. Number one. That's number two.
It looks really sexy on Spotify. Our
podcast. Number two, why would we move from the platform that we've been using since the inception of this podcast? Literally the platform that pushes out and distributes to everything. Literally the only platform that lets you literally record a live radio broadcast from your phone.
I'll pay for it when you
shout out to
update
Speaker,
the fucking
man.
Apple settings because you can only change it through Apple.
But yeah, the point is, fuck Spotify. AP's overrated. This is Touchdowns and Tangents.
He's not, though. But he's just not.
Have a good week.
Gurley's going to win MVP, though. No.